My name is Sergej Kotliar. I'm the founder and CEO of Bitrefill. My role is
Everything.
my role is a lot of stuff. I'm both in charge of the business and the technical side of things.
So is there a team or?
There is a team. There's 3 co-founders, including me, but the other 2 are on part-time. And then there's 2 developers that help out on part-time as well. So it's still a very bootstrapped and very lean operation at this stage. We connect the digital currency of Bitcoin and the future of whatever to the most widely used digital currency in the world, which is mobile airtime. So what we do is we run a service which is both a website and an API service where Bitcoin can be used and converted into mobile airtime right now in 135 countries. So originally it actually started as a very small sort of test balloon project to dip some toes into Bitcoin. As a Westerner, it's hard. It's very easy to underestimate the extent to which prepaid phone airtime is a thing. Like it's 70% of the world's mobile users. But in the beginning, it was just like, I want to do a little Bitcoin project to see what it's like, and it's you get a much clearer perspective from actually being in there. And we looked at a bunch of things and gift cards and things like that, and eventually it just happened that we have some connections in the mobile industry and figured, why not manage to get a connection to be able to resell these things. And then we get users pretty quickly. We get users in like 20 countries, and very far away countries from here as well. We had users in Africa, in different parts of Africa, in Asia, in Bangladesh, in India, in the US, in Latin America, pretty quickly. And then it sort of started dawning on us that, wait a minute, it's just in the West that there's all of these plans and subscriptions and everything. And most of the world, especially the mythical unbanked that Bitcoiners like to talk about so much, everything there is prepaid, and so all goods and services are prepaid, and the mobile bill is one of the most important ones. And there's some statistic that there's more people in the world that own a mobile phone than there are people who own a toothbrush. So that kind of shows like the importance of mobile communication as like a household expense. So the question of remittance is very interesting because it's a popular topic in Bitcoin. We don't see it as remittance, and the reason for this is there's a lot of misconceptions around remittance in Bitcoin, because people think there's all this talk about Western Union charges this big fees and this and that, and you can do it much cheaper with Bitcoin. Truth is that that's not the case. Like the things that are expensive in remittances are the physical cash in point and the cash out point. The actual money transfer in between it's very cheap and efficient, and Western Union offers that at a fraction of a percentage of fee, something that no Bitcoin company can match right now. But what we see is that we're moving into a world where there's 2 classes of money. There's going to be the digital realm of money and the analog realm of money. By digital, I mean, obviously Bitcoin, but also, it can be Amazon gift cards or PayPal balances or pretty much anything that's in the cloud. And in that realm, there's no remittances, there's no international, there's no borders. Right? Where is a Bitcoin? It's a moot point. But what we also see is that the bridges between this digital realm and the analog realm are always difficult and problematic. And so our goal is to be one such bridge to connect digital money to analog goods and services. And that's what we're going for. So the question of remittance becomes, we will handle remittances sort of from the money cloud into the physical world, if that makes sense. One thing about remittances is that when it comes to Bitcoin, the question is always, like, for us, it doesn't really matter if someone is using Bitrefill in a sending country or in a receiving country to convert the Bitcoin into airtime. Like it doesn't make a big difference if someone, for example, acquires Bitcoin and sends the Bitcoin, and then someone in the receiving country uses Bitrefill to cash it out, or if someone just uses Bitrefill directly from the sending place of origin to have it show up directly on the phone. It's equivalent in it's very different from a remittance standpoint, but from a technical, the way we build the web service, it's the same. So we have actually had much less issues than I understand a lot of companies have, mainly because we deal with mobile airtime, which is a prepaid good, which is not considered right now, according to current regulations, to be money. So we're not affected by all of that stuff. We're not a Bitcoin exchange. So we haven't had that type of problems. Our problems are more of the traditional kinds. We're getting good deals with middlemen companies to offer sensible pricing for our users, and dealing with that, and acquiring users, dealing with the intricacies of Bitcoin. That's the issues that have been really troubling for us. The banking is secondary in many cases. That's a very good question, and we're only now starting to figure out how to sort of market it. The way we've been doing it is we basically rely on the existing Bitcoin community and network. So we partner with local companies, local Bitcoin exchanges, with wallets, things like that, to get our service out there. And then there's generally at this point there's a couple of still, Bitcoin is niche enough that there are certain clusters in which Bitcoiners sort of discuss with each other. There's a few, either if it's Facebook or Slack or whatever, groups per country, and then there's Reddit and channels like that, Bitcoin Talk, and so on. So it's mostly been, this far, it's been mostly targeting the existing Bitcoin users. Now we're thinking that just the Bitcoin users is not really enough, and we're thinking of ways of expanding this to reach a broader audience than just the Bitcoin believers. Our aim is to be, like I said before, the bridge between the digital realm of money and the analog realm. And anyone who knows, who has at some point received money from the internet, if you made $30 somewhere and you get a check, and what you do with it and how, and it's always expensive and slow and messy in different ways to get the money out. So what we're doing is we're going out to companies that work with that type of stuff. That, for example, Mechanical Turk type companies who need to pay out to users for small tasks, or for any other reason have user account balances, or if it's money transfer remittance companies, and offer them our solution, which uses Bitcoin as a B2B settlement layer, and that doesn't expose Bitcoin to the end consumer. And that's generally going to be our strategy going forward, that we're going to focus on being more of an infrastructure provider to Bitcoin companies and to other companies in the digital money area. So right now we have a lot of users in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. That area is a heavy use cluster. We also have a lot of users in a bunch of African countries. We're now going more actively into Latin America. We previously had okay coverage, but not the best pricing. Something that we've now improved. We also have users in Eastern Asia, in Philippines, Indonesia, and of course in the US. We have quite a few, and in Western Europe as well. We have quite a few users, but those users are usually slightly different, and there's different use cases in the Western world as opposed to how it is in emerging countries. In the Western world, people who use Bitcoin are doing it for ideological reasons, or for because they have Bitcoin, or with their privacy-minded, things like that. Whereas in a lot of emerging countries, we actually have people that have no ideological interest in Bitcoin whatsoever. They just use it as money. You know, they somehow got paid something, and then they have this internet money that they need to convert into physical goods and services, right? Like to live, and our service is in some cases the only one, but in a lot of cases it's the quickest and easiest. Because normally if you're gonna sign up to a Bitcoin exchange, if there is a Bitcoin exchange in your country, which there still isn't in every country. Yeah. But even if there is one, you need to sign up, and you need to send in documents, you need to wait for a couple of weeks, and this and that, and there's going to be sometimes an order book, you need to figure out what that is, and you need to connect it to your bank account, and it's like this whole process. With us, it's just like you type in your phone number, and you scan a QR code, and it's done, and it plings in your phone usually right away, and that's something that's very powerful, because people are used to the fact that getting money out from the internet and into the physical realm is very painful and time consuming, and that's part of PayPal's business model, is that people don't take the money out because it's so complicated. And with us, it's like literally it plings in your phone, and you have your balance topped up, and I think that's one of the things that entices users. So Seller was the first one, but now we've integrated with several Bitcoin wallets and exchanges all over the world. We have there's a whole bunch. There's Clevercoin in Europe, and we have MexBT in Mexico, and that's when it comes to exchanges. When it comes to wallets, we have several wallets. I'm not sure if I can tell you about all of those, but there are some high-profile integrations coming up very soon. And there's also different kinds of like more hackish like applications that people have built on the Bitrefill API. So we're trying to really just get it out there and get it used by as many people as possible, and trying to eliminate the whole the copying of the addresses and the scanning of the QR code steps.
Because that's user experience.
It's a user experience, but it's user experience when it comes to people who are within the circle of Bitcoin, but it's also it's also a way of broadening our reach a little bit to integrate with companies that have connections to other sources of money. So, for example, with Celery in the US, Celery is an American Bitcoin broker exchange, like Coinbase but smaller, I guess. And they have connections to the American banking system, integrations. So that means that a user can pay with an American bank account for sending mobile airtime across the world. And we in Celery we just use Bitcoin as a settlement layer behind the scenes. But in that case, the end user doesn't need to. They don't need to handle a private key. They don't need to keep it secure. They don't need to copy an address. There's no QR code. There's none of that. And that's sort of that type of partnerships that we're with a small startup. So we use different middleman companies that have several partnerships, and they in turn often use other middleman companies. It's very complicated, and we can talk for hours about that. And to this point, this whole space has been about sending it as remittance. So it's been from country A to country B, and in that case, it often is not visible, like what the fees are, because you send someone $5 to Mexico, and then if it arrives as the currency equivalent of 430, it still counts as you said, but I sent 5. And so, but when in the Bitcoin world, people price compare, and they're like, hey, what is this? This is not what I paid for. And so that requires for us to always try to renegotiate our partnerships, our deals, always try to get better and new deals. And so every once in a while we do these price drops in this area, and that's basically because we managed to get a better deal for sending airtime to those countries. So in most countries there's a distinction between mobile airtime and mobile money. The distinction is that mobile airtime can usually not be converted directly into cash. It can only be consumed, but in many cases it can be sent to other people. Whereas mobile money is like M-Pesa, which is the most famous one. There's similar ones in a lot of countries. They're technically the same system technologically, but in practice, mobile money is convertible into cash, and that means that that also comes with sometimes different regulatory aspects, and we're cautious in trying to sort of only do the unregulated parts for now. But if you look at what a mobile money system is, a mobile money system is a mobile operator run system which is built on the same system as they have for their airtime balances, and the mobile money system has four key basic characteristics. It's cash in, you can acquire the airtime with physical cash in local merchants. Cash out, you can get physical cash from these local merchants. There's transfer between accounts, and usually in between accounts of other operators in the same country. And then the fourth quality is that the mobile money can be used for airtime top-ups. Now, if we compare that to, for example, Bitcoin, you see that Bitcoin has, there is cash in a lot of countries and cash out. There's local Bitcoins and exchanges, and likely that part is going to grow. There is clearly transfer between account holders of whatever, even between countries. And the fourth quality is airtime top-ups, and we're the providers of that. So what we see is that there is an emergence of sort of global money, mobile money of the world, and we want to be part of making that happen by tying this mobile money of the world to the value of actual tangible service that everybody uses on a daily basis. Right. So we were in the Tribe 5 of the Boost VC Accelerator this spring in San Mateo in Silicon Valley. It was actually a great experience. It was a continuous 4-month, every day, all day Bitcoin conference. just being in an area where there's 25 other startups working on similar things, but not the same things. It's a great experience, and it taught us a lot of things. Because you learn from each other, and this is such a nascent industry where everything is sort of like in the dark and unknown. And it's incredibly helpful to have people around you that are working on similar things. And what I can say from what I saw, and there was a very good post by Kirill from Loanbase about his experience. He was in the same tribe as we were. That it's really hard to describe. Like you build up a certain camaraderie with these people who are actually really good people with really good startups. Very early. A lot of startups are very early stage. It was varying, I guess, but the people, I've never seen such hardworking group of and smart group of people as I saw there. So all in all, plus coming in from Sweden, remote part of Europe, and being thrown right into the heart of Silicon Valley, having doors opened for you by people who have been in that industry for generations, and just seeing everything and getting the introductions and meeting everyone in the Bitcoin ecosystem. It's been incredibly useful. The ultimate goal is that all prepaid goods and services are going to be sold through our marketplace. That's the ultimate goal. And so the ultimate goal is going to be not only mobile, it's going to be prepaid anything. And the ultimate goal is to be a marketplace where we have the goods and services on one side and the digital money bearers on the other side. Mm-hmm. That's the end goal. Maybe that's been discussed in some form. We'll see about that. I think that's not the most pressing matter for us right now. Right now, it's still building the infrastructure. Building a platform to handle these things, to be able to easily integrate into other services and be sort of available everywhere. So if we at some point decide to have some type of, I'm guessing you're thinking tokens or something, but maybe, but it's not like on the agenda right now. Because again, right now there's so many Bitcoin users, and if we're gonna try to market another token, we're limiting ourselves to a subset of that amount.